A rough landing.
There was some smoke in the cabin, so that was a little concerning.
What went wrong for this Delta flight crew? Chaos at the airport.
If you like my clothes, this is day 3.
What is delaying travelers from their 4th of July weekends? And protests in Fort Myers. What bill is affecting the lives of the immigrant community in Florida? These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Tanya Jimenez.
I'm Amanda Gray. Today is Thursday, June 29, 2023.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
U.S. flights are facing more problems, and they're not all weather-related. Today, travelers aboard a not-so-normal Delta flight find themselves safely on the ground after their plane landed without essential landing gear.
Delta Flight 1092 left Atlanta Wednesday morning en route to Charlotte. Roughly 90 minutes later, the landing was anything but normal. According to a statement from Delta Airlines, the plane's nose landing gear didn't respond, forcing an emergency landing.
But the flight attendants did well. The pilot came on with his instructions that we would be exiting, and so we all exited safely.
No injuries were reported, but the passengers were shaken up after the scary experience.
Today, more flight issues are plaguing U.S. travel, making planning this 4th of July weekend more difficult. CNN's Laura Aguirre has the details.
Now, you can't control the weather. We've had very tough weather the last few days.
Severe storms across much of the U.S. this week have played a role in thousands of flight delays and cancellations since the weekend. But there's more to it.
In the process of waiting for the lightning to clear up, our pilot timed out.
The always ticking clock on air crew hours and the FAA's ongoing shortage of air traffic controllers can stretch any weather delays and passenger misery out for days.
If you like my clothes, this is day 3.
They didn't have enough flight attendants for our flight, and it got pushed back. We got on the plane, and then the pilots timed out.
The pilot said that there's a mechanical failure, and they won't be able to fly the plane.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg praising the airlines for operational improvements on Wednesday, but adds there's a long way to go.
What's different this year compared to a year ago is that there is more cushion. We're seeing more of the staffing that there needs to be.
Storms and staffing headaches aside, Secretary Buttigieg notes that U.S. air travelers have more rights this year when flying, and they should use them.
Anybody planning a trip, and a lot of Americans are, can go to flightrights.gov and get more information about what you are owed in the event that you get stuck.
That may still not be enough for some frustrated flyers.
We're going to drive to Minneapolis because they can't get us out until Friday at the earliest.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Today, millions of Americans woke up to poor air quality alerts as smoke from Canadian wildfires makes its way into the Midwest and drifts towards the East Coast. The network's Carlos Carrillo has more on this.
Wow, this is pretty insane, guys.
Christy Litzer narrating her view in Ontario.
This is not fog. This is smoke.
Speaks for what millions are sensing when they step outside.
And you can smell it too. Like it smells like smoke.
She said the fires aren't even close to her. But the 230 plus fires Canadian officials say are burning out of control, part of the worst wildfire season on record there, with the highest wildfire emissions recorded. The resulting smoke is seen in shades of gray clouding Iowa cityscapes, hovering over Wisconsin fields, and an Illinois farmer worries, delaying her tomato crop a bit.
If you're out in this, please stay safe. Not good for our lungs.
The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency says it's had 10 air quality alert events this year over a period of 26 days.
All of my guys are retired guys, and they show up to work, but I want to take care of them and make sure they're healthy too.
The smoke's path looks like a winding summer road trip. Michigan, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, next New York, which just a few weeks ago watched the skyline turn orange in a matter of hours. Now, there's an air quality health advisory for the entire state. Officials fear it could get worse. Carlos Carrillo, Caplin News.
A new Florida anti-immigration bill goes into effect this Saturday. In Fort Myers, community members are protesting the bill, saying SB 1718 puts them in danger. It would make the migration of undocumented people into the state a felony punishable up to 15 years in prison. The bill also requires hospitals to collect patients' immigration status and more.
Today, the Justice Department is calling a new law signed by Governor Ron DeSantis unconstitutional. The law would restrict citizens of so-called countries of concern, including China and Cuba, from owning property in Florida. DeSantis says the goal is to protect Florida from communism, one of the biggest security threats to the nation, according to the governor. The DOJ filed a statement of interest in Tallahassee federal court, saying that the new law violates the Fair Housing Act and runs counter to the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. This law also takes effect Saturday.
After completing its mission to collect a sample of an asteroid, a spacecraft that NASA calls a cosmic touch-and-go is coming home. As meteorologist Corey Copenhagen reports, the sample could hold evidence revealing the origins of life on Earth.
NASA calls it a cosmic touch and go.
When we made contact with the surface, there was a 1-second delay, and then we fired that high-pressure nitrogen gas, and the surface just exploded.
In October of 2020, the Lockheed Martin-built spacecraft called OSIRIS-REx made a brief touchdown on an asteroid known as Bennu. Its job was to collect a soil sample and bring it back to Earth.
That's right. So asteroid Bennu is a time capsule that's over 4.5 billion years old. The minerals and chemicals that make up this object formed before the Earth even existed as a planet.
Dante Loretta, the project's principal investigator, says the secrets to the solar system and life as we know it on Earth may be locked inside an 8-ounce sample of ancient dust and pebbles. Its nearly 3-year journey back to Earth is almost complete. OSIRIS-REx is scheduled to parachute down to the Utah desert this September. At the Lockheed Martin campus in Littleton on Wednesday, a full dress rehearsal.
The hallmark of our success is that we rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse. So we never go into a flight critical operation unprepared.
The sample recovery team will set up a makeshift clean room like this one on site in the desert when OSIRIS-REx makes it back to Earth. They must be extremely careful not to contaminate the sample as they prepare it for a trip to Houston to be analyzed at the Johnson Space Center.
Yeah, when we proposed this mission to NASA, we said we would gain unprecedented knowledge about the origin of life on Earth, and I intend to do my best to deliver on that promise.
Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen, 9 News.
A new world record holder this morning. He's from the town of Normal, Illinois, but as Caplin's Juliana Restrepo reports, the length of his tongue is anything but normal.
Rocky's owners always knew he had an abnormally large tongue.
It's just hanging there, right? And we're like, man, it's so long. But when other people started noticing, and complete strangers, that's when we're like, man, his tongue really is long, not just we think so.
Krista Williams was unaware that there was a world record for the longest tongue on a living dog until she saw the previous holder, Mochi, on a TV special. After Mochi passed away, she knew that Rocky might actually have a chance.
That's when they said the new record was between 3 and 4 inches, and I said, oh my gosh, I think we have a shot. I gotta look into this.
Williams said that the process was not easy and all the documentation is crazy. She said that she triple-checked the paperwork to make sure that they didn't deny Rocky. A couple months after Williams applied, Guinness accepted the application and the measurement planning started.
That's where I talked to the vet, and he left me a message saying, I guess we're measuring a tongue, and so it was on.
Guinness sent Rocky's vet, Dr. Bleem from Kruger Animal Hospital, specific requirements on how to measure his tongue. They put Rocky under anesthesia, gently drew out his tongue, and measured from the end of his nose to the tip of his tongue.
It was 140 millimeters. I mean, it's long.
On GuinnessWorldRecords.com, Rocky measured in at 13.8 centimeters, which is just under 5.5 inches.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Something just fun to laugh at too. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, look at his tongue.
Just, you know, Rocky's a great dog, and he really deserves this.
Juliana Restrepo, Caplin News.
The Marlins tried again at Fenway Park as they look to secure another win against the Red Sox.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
Grounded to third. Donaldson has it. There it is.
A record-breaking night in Major League Baseball. How one player made sure he had a perfect game. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
CWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
History is in the making as one Yankees player shows off his perfect pitch. New York Yankees' Domingo Germán pitched his way into the record books last night, tossing Major League Baseball's first perfect game in nearly 11 years.
It was the 24th perfect game in MLB history. Germán has had his share of controversy off the field, including a suspension after accusations of domestic violence. The Dominican-born right-hander, who was the first pitcher from his nation to throw a perfect game, cited the death of a relative a few days ago as inspiration for his historic performance. The final score was Yankees 11, Athletics 0.
A big sixth inning for the Fish helped lead the Marlins to victory over the Boston Red Sox. Gene Segura had a big two-run single in the sixth inning, and pitcher Braxton Garrett went 5 innings in the victory, allowing just 1 run on 3 hits. The final score was Marlins 6, Red Sox 2. The two teams close out the series tonight with the first pitch at 6:10 p.m. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Make a plan today.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Amanda Gray.
And I'm Tanya Jimenez. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.